What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wonders Workshop, and I have got some big news for today. You saw my little teaser about stuff, and then, of course, right after I post that, we get a big announcement of a whole bunch of stuff. Highlights that I'm going to be talking about in this video, so overview. Call the Stones is delayed, not canceled, delayed. You'll have to forgive me, my brain's a little slow today. So Call of the Stones is delayed, and then we got information about the World Championships for Wonders of the First in November. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So that first thing that we found out was that the Shattering in Call of the Stones has been delayed until February. It was supposed to release basically late October. But there have been some delays for a couple of reasons from what I can tell. And I think, it's fair for us to be disappointed, but I think there's, some pros and cons to everything that happens. I'm glad that we're going to be getting a quality product, even if it takes longer. And I love the game. I love the team. It's not going to change my love for the game at all. I appreciate that Wonders has this statement in this announcement. The opportunity cost, as well as the reputation/goodwill cost of missing print deadlines is high, and we must do better. And so, I appreciate that they're recognizing that, and they're saying that they're aware of that. Because as a lot of us who have been involved since the Kickstarter know, there were some delays with getting stuff for the Kickstarter. And none of these things are the end of the world. None of these things shake my confidence in the Wonders team ability to provide a good product. But I appreciate that they're recognizing that, being late again is going to have an impact, and that they are striving to do better. It is worth noting that they said that they understand that they came up short, and they're adding additional talent, including 2 new senior level hires. So they're taking steps to make sure that they don't fall short on deadlines again, which I really appreciate from this company that we all look to for something as fun as Wonders. And so, I hate that it's delayed, but, they make a very clear point, and I kind of agree with them. The delay does have a silver lining. It means that the existent set is going to get its own world championship. And I think that's a huge win in some ways. I talked a little bit with one of the top 8 players from the Boba World Championships, and he mentioned that, there was some frustration that not everyone could get access to Alpha Update, because Alpha Update came out so shortly before the Nationals tournament. And I think, this delay, whether we like it or not, does have the benefit of making it so that you don't have to get Call of the Stones, familiarize yourself with it, and be able to use it right away in competition. I like that Existence is going to get its own world championship. Do I think that would have I think that could have been done without a product delay, and I'm not saying that the product is delayed because of that. Like, my wording might sound like that, but that's not what I'm saying. I think that it could have happened, even Existence set could have had its own even without the printing delay, by just saying that these cards aren't legal in this tournament. But I think this works out really well, so that it's easy for people to remember, and easy for people to just have Existence cards. And so this brings me to, what does the World Championship in Vegas look like? And so it's at the SCG Con in Vegas, and there's going to be 2 competitions that happen at the same time, 2 basically World Cup type things. The first is the Stone Seeker World Cup, $25,000 cash plus a champion prize card, top 8 promo cards, and more is the prize pool. There's a $50 entry fee, and you get a bunch of stuff. It's a constructed format, DBS limit 1,000. And I'm not going to read this whole thing to you because you can read this, and I'm gonna drop the link for this announcement in the description for the video. What has gotten a lot of people chatting is the announcement of the Dragon Cup. It is a prize pool of $100,000 plus the champion prize card, top 8 promo cards, and more. The entry fee is $250. The all positions guaranteed at least $200 payout plus the stuff that you're receiving. But here's the key. All the players must have at least one stone foil. And it's not required to be part of your playable deck, but you have to have the stone foil as an entry ticket. And it is a constructed format with special deck rules, and the DBS limit is 1,000. Now, having to have a stone foil is a huge barrier to entry for some people. For this, it's marketed as a luxury event. And having to have a stone foil to get in fits really well into that. The other thing that makes this competition so much more luxury is that at least 25 of the cards in your deck must be serialized. So, at least 25 cards of your 50 cards in the deck must be stone foils or OCMs. In addition to that, all the other cards have to be formless foils or pre-release foils, and all your tokens must be stone foils, OCMs, or formless foils. So this is a huge necessary set of requirements to be able to build a deck like this. And, you know, it's a really interesting way to have a luxury tournament. One of the things that I've seen a lot of the chatter in the Discord talking about is figuring out the balance between collectors and players in this, because one of the things that Wonders makes clear is that, you know, collectors can own the cards, but have somebody else pilot the deck for them. Maybe even have someone else build the deck for them and split the money however they want, however they decide between the two of them. And it says that you don't even have to be in attendance to have a deck in the event. We will safely vault your deck for a nominal fee, and your player can use lower cost non-foil versions in the actual event. So there's this really interesting aspect of trying to encourage a symbiotic relationship between collectors and players. And I think this Dragon Cup is going to have some really interesting impacts across a bunch of different things. I have a couple opinions about this. I personally wish that the entry ticket was something closer to what it was in Boba for the Nationals. The ticket to play in the Boba Nationals was a Bo Jackson auto. There was, to my knowledge, there were 100 of them, and they're comparable in value to a stone foil. But here's the thing: you could win a Bo auto at a tournament leading up to the Nationals. Like several of the people who attended didn't buy a Bo auto or pull a Bo auto. They won it by winning at other competitions. And so this is where my one piece of, like, the one thing that I wish was done differently. I wish that the ticket for being able to play was something that you could win your way into the Dragon Cup. I recognize that it's very different, that this is a luxury event, and it's not meant to be competitive in the same way or to compete in the same way as some of the Boba Nationals. But it just feels like it would make that just a smidge more accessible, because there's only 3 events: Orlando, Houston, and Baltimore before Nationals. And Orlando's already happened, but there's only 3 events that could lead up to Nationals where somebody could win a ticket. And it feels like, people getting good players being able to get access. It would encourage them more to partner um, with the collectors so that they can play in this competition. Obviously, this is all my opinion. I'm not in charge. And I think, it's just really interesting to see, and it'll be really interesting to see how many people partner up, how many of these connections are made. And if it does what it seems like, the Wonders team is wanting it to do, it seems like the goal here is to create a collaborative environment and a collaborative community, and make ties between collectors and players that we hadn't seen previously with Wonders. And that's a huge win if we see that. Um, and I think, there's a lot of interesting information here. I think the biggest and most interesting thing is that the impact that this is going to have on the value of cards in the community. I know before the Boba Nationals, boxes got ripped like crazy to look for the cards that you needed. And I think we're going to see the same thing happen with Wonders. People need OCMs. People need formless foils. I think we're going to see some more dragon boxes get ripped for this. I think we're going to see some more of these collector boxes and bundles get ripped so that people have cards to play. And I think this is going to have a couple different impacts on the value of cards. The value of formless foils, OCMs, and stone foils all just went up. Same for pre-releases, at least in my opinion, and what I'm guessing that we're going to see. This is PSA, as we did in the talk with Radish Digital. This is not me giving financial advice. This is me speculating. Don't watch my video and go buy a bunch of stuff and just assume that my word is smart and you should base your financial decisions based on this. Don't do that. These are just my speculations. But yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot more product getting opened, which will have an impact on sealed product. The more product that is opened, for as long as there are still cards to chase, then the higher the value of sealed product is going to go. And so if anybody's got sealed product, you're going to need to be making this decision between whether you want to open your sealed product and look for cards, or whether you're going to keep your sealed product and see if it's going to go up in value. There's also, like I said, just the sheer impact that this is going to have on the values of OCMs, stone foils, and formless foils, because their demand is going to be so much higher now. Having to have a blinged out deck, having to have 25 OCMs in your deck is a huge demand on the OCM supply, especially because so many things haven't been opened. I mean, there's probably 100 dragon boxes that haven't been opened, if I had to guess, if not more. There's 4 packs in every dragon box, and there's an OCM in every pack. That's 400 OCMs that have never been opened, or potentially some stone foil hits there. And it's going to be really interesting to see the impact that this has. Like I said, I think that what it's going to do is it's going to drive up the prices of sealed product, and it's going to drive up the prices of product that people need to play. So, that's kind of my 2 cents. I would love to know what y'all think. Love to know, what are your opinions on this Dragon Cup thing? Are you planning to partner? How you feel like it's going to create connections between players and collectors? All of the above. I want to know your comments. I want to know what you're thinking. Do you think I'm right about what this is going to do to the value of things? And so I'm just really interested about this decision, and I think overall it's going to have a good impact. So kind of that's what I got for you today. And as always, please comment, subscribe, and keep being your wonderful selves.